breaking news. Yo, I'm gonna break this down where you understand how this play out where they using prison labor in 2024 equivalent to slavery. So please, I know y'all like this celebrity juicy gossip about Diddy and Jay-Z and Little Durk, but this is one you must listen to. This is how they're using prison labor as modern day slavery. You got men in prison that's working in local McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, and the government is taking 40% of their money every time they get paid, and then they take money for their room and housing, and by the time they done, they might make 600 for 2 weeks and wind up only getting 200. Please watch this video. You need to share this video so you know what's going on. So you young people out there that don't want to work, they know how to get you to work. You know what I mean? For nothing. Slave labor, let's keep it going. Make sure you subscribe at Mecca Audio TV, Unique Mecca Audio, and Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories. All right, you know what it is, Unique Mecca Audio, man. Sit back. We're going to play this video. We want you to understand. In the feds, they have something that they call, what they call that? They call it Unicore. Unicore is the factory that they make inmates work in, and they get like maybe 10 cents an hour. And, you know, I learned how to make jacket before I even get in. I'm going to get into that. But let's get into this here because I want you to see this is the ultimate scheme right here. You know what I mean? Where they getting brothers to work in the public for nothing for the corporations.
Well, a lot of people are calling it modern slavery. Does that feel right?
I was just about to say, that's slavery. That's slavery. You took away the whips, but you put the paperwork. Took away the masters and you put them in uniform.
Listen to how deep this is. She said they took away the whips and gave paperwork. So, you know how they used to whoop us, you know, with the whip? Now they whipping us with the indictments, with the lawsuits. Pay attention. You ain't going to get better content than this than you get in the Mecca Audio, man. They took away the whips, and instead they're whipping us with indictments and codes and statutes and violations. And those are the new whips that they're using. Pay attention.
Same difference, same difference.
It kind of appears that there is a coordinated system in order to protect the labor that's created by the prison system.
Walk into a McDonald's in Alabama, and the worker flipping your McDouble could be an incarcerated person.
It's a sad situation of where they getting rich off us.
The Alabama Department of Corrections farms out incarcerated people to work at hundreds of private companies and government agencies across the state.
McDonald's, Burger King, Golden Corral, Wendy's. They got a Wendy's contract right now. State Trooper's office.
They'll send everybody everywhere.
They'll send you everywhere. Yes, the parole office.
And even though ADOC trusts these incarcerated people to leave prison every day and work alongside the general public, many of them are still denied the chance at real freedom.
I work for y'all, but when I come up for parole, you deny me. Why would you deny me? Because you're getting free service.
This is a story about corporations and the state of Alabama exploiting prison labor and the coercive policies they use to keep its citizens trapped in servitude.
Now, so you understand how deep this is, right? This is how deep this is. They're saying, so you understand that these corporations is getting inmates to work, and then when they go up for parole, they're working in society, flipping burgers, working the cash register, running the kitchen, they doing everything, but when they go up for parole, they deny them. They're in society for hours a day. Some many times over hours, as they said, overtime. Yeah, I say I ain't never worked, so I don't really know. But you know, how could this be happening and you don't know? But that's why Unique Mecca Audio is here to bring it to you, man. Listen to this.
It doesn't work. It's a terrible system.
If you're wondering how any of this is even legal, well, it might not be. That's what we went to Alabama to figure out.
Sweet home Alabama.
So yeah, could you just describe like how long you worked here and
I was here 18 months. That I ran their kitchen by myself from 8 to 5 every Thursday, Tuesday through Thursday.
Wait till you see how they pay her for this.
wow,
Yeah.
that sounds like hard work.
It was.
Elizabeth Thomas was in the Alabama Work Release Program for 5 of her 15 years in prison.
So they had a combination of incarcerated people and free world people.
Yes.
Did you feel like there was a difference how they treated?
Oh, most definitely. We work longer hours.
Make the work release work over or work extra days, don't want to give you off days. Like, no, I got to eat my health. I have to get rest. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a machine. But that's how they look at you, like.
This is Quincy Sanders. During his nearly 17 years in prison, he worked at several restaurants, a lumber yard, and McDonald's.
Like, working a real job and trying to be incarcerated is a very hard experience. You have to be mind strong, really.
Alabama has one of the most overcrowded and deadly prison systems in the United States. Even the Justice Department found conditions there to be unconstitutional. In 2023, almost a person a day died in Alabama prisons, which is almost 5 times the national average.
Now, y'all keep it 100. How many of y'all knew that a person a day was dying in the Alabama state prison system? And we didn't know nothing about this. Man, stay tuned to this and don't worry about that celebrity gossip. I'm going to get back to that crap in a minute. Gunshots. But right now, we have the tutorial so you know how they treating our brothers and sisters in the prison system.
Or they might get beat to death. People beating folks with sticks. They breaking broomsticks, making little billy clubs. People in there stabbing each other. People in there doing drugs. People in there almost about to die. They're not giving you no nursing assistance. The nurse probably get there, you probably be dead.
But
All right, so right, let me give you, okay, I feel like riding. So we gonna ride right now. I was in Coleman, Florida, and it was this big police. He was real cool, looked like a lumberjack, you know what I mean? Bald head, you know what I mean? He had the thick sideburns and, you know, and he was diesel. He was, you know, little knife protection vests and all that, but he was good people, nothing bad to say about him. And he was into the UFC fighting and he minded his business. He didn't bother the other convicts and he didn't even bother the inmates. Now, when I say inmates and convicts, you have to understand that an inmate do what he's told and a convict do what he want to do. But this man didn't bother each one. See, I give y'all jewels in between all this. So check it out. So dude is sitting there and it was like a Sunday night. They had a big football game on and a dude from Ohio gets into it with a dude from California. Now, they're sitting there and dude ran and broke a stick and had the broomstick, a big thick broomstick that was jagged in his hand, and he's chasing the dude from California around with the stick, trying to hit him until somebody threw the dude from California the plastic lid to the garbage can so he could use it as a shield to block it. And then someone else wound up breaking a stick, one of his homies, and he threw him out a stick. And everybody sat down watching the football game like nothing was happening, and everybody's glued to the football game, but looking out their corner at the eye, enjoying the show. But remember, there's cameras all in the dorm, so nobody wanted to jump up, you know what I mean, and start staring. Oh, because then the cameras would see it, and then they'll send the goon squad, and the deuces would go off. And when all the police come running down there, it'll end, and we wouldn't get to see our special halftime show during the football game, you know. So we want the fight to keep going. So we just sitting there, everybody calm, the whole day room like nothing happening. And these two dudes is running around like gladiators with garbage cans for shields and broken sticks for swords and weapons, and they going at it. Cold madness, right? And the police is behind the desk, and the police, he's a UFC fighter, so he loved to fight, but he look up, he see it, so he's looking over the computer, and he's watching it, and he's loving it, and then when he see people looking at him to see what he doing, if he's gonna run out, or if he's gonna hit the deuces, or if he's gonna intervene, so he ducked down and act like he looking at the screen and he playing with his mouse. You know what I mean? And then he peek back up and look over. And he's enjoying the fight and he acting like nothing happened. These dudes fought for 45 minutes, man. They went from downstairs to upstairs to the back of the stairs to under the stairs. They was cold rumbling. And the police just sat there on the mouse chilling, you know? But this is the type of thing that happened in prison. So if you want to go in prison, you know, to experience that, I'm going to tell you, don't do it. But if you think you tough enough and none of this means nothing to you that I'm saying, well, you go for it because they got a head bust for you too. Just like they bust my head, I'm trying to prevent you from going to get your head bust. But if you think you that tough, because I'm telling you, I wasn't that tough. I was made that tough. And I made the choice to put myself in that situation the same way I'm trying to tell you not to make the choice to put yourself in that situation. But those dudes could have killed each other and the police acting like he watching TV and the inmates sitting back to see who dies first. Welcome to prison. Let's get back to this free labor for prison, because I know when I ride, you get a few rat bastards, you know, to come in. Oh, you talking too much. You talking too much. Get out of here. You know what I mean? With your Mickey Mouse ass.
ADOC offers people in prison with nonviolent misdemeanor convictions a potentially life-saving deal. If they join the work release program, they get to live in special facilities that are generally much less dangerous than regular prisons. They spend their days working in the free world without prison supervision, and they can earn 72-hour passes to visit their families at home.
If you go out here and you do the right thing, you get to elevate, you get to grow, you get out of this facility. But you know what you didn't tell me is that you finna get all my money.
Tell them about
That's
the
what
money.
they didn't tell you.
The state takes a 40% cut of every incarcerated worker's wages off the top, before taxes, plus an additional $5 a day for van rides to and from work, $15 a month for laundry, and then any restitution and court fees.
Now, how you gonna exploit people to work and you taking over 50%, like 70%, 60, 70%. I don't want to be biased and say 70. It looks like 70, but look more like in between 60 and 70% of what they working for. We understand that when you're convicted, you're considered an indentured servitude. But I mean, come on, free labor? $5 to the van ride to go to and from? Come on, man. $15 for laundry? And most dudes wash their little underwears and sweats themselves. And I'm sure wherever they work, they wash their uniform. So where's this fit? Oh my God. And then they got people working there for 18 months and 5 years. They go to parole, deny parole, just so they can keep them in this free labor.
If your check is $636, you might see two something out of that. And that's every 2 weeks. And you done work 80 hours and only seen $200. Like it makes you lose motivation, because you know money motivates people, especially working. So it kind of makes you lose motivation.
One estimate calculated that the state of Alabama enjoys a benefit of more than $450 million a year off of prison labor.
Remember, Alabama is the original slave state, and this looks like slave labor to me as a layman. What do you think? Put it in the comment.
And it's slavery all the way around the board, just slavery.
And unlike free world workers, incarcerated workers can't just get a shift covered or quit.
ADOC has a list of rules that all incarcerated people are expected to abide by. Rules like don't have contraband, be in your bunk at the required time, and rules like don't refuse to work. That's a rule on the books.
CJ Sandley is one of
How is it refusing to work if you say I'm sick today? I've been throwing up blood. I had diarrhea all night. And you consider that as refusing to work? I was in that system for 26 and a half years. So I'm letting you know, yes, they call that. If you tell them I got the runs, I can't go to work today. They say, oh, no, you got to go. They got a bathroom over there. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
the attorneys behind a recent lawsuit filed against ADOC.
The range of punishments folks can face if they get written up for refusing to work include solitary confinement, losing access to phones, tablets, visitation, access to their families and loved ones for like 30 days, 60 days. Being required to do more work inside the prison walls for free, under threat of punishment.
I want to talk to my family. I want to be a part of my family, and you're telling me that if I don't go and do what you want me to do at these jobs, work as hard as they want me to do, if they need me 7 days, you want me to go there 7 days. If they need me 80 hours, you want me to work 80 hours. If they want me to turn around and come back and do a double, you want me to get up and you want me to be available to do all this. But if I decide I'm tired, Lord forbid if we got sick.
I talked to Reginald Burrell, who was injured when an entertainment center fell on his head at the private furniture manufacturing company where he worked through ADOC. When he spoke up about it, he was fired.
And I confronted the JPO about it, and they shipped me to Childersburg with extra duty, taking away my privileges, and I ended up in a landfill. I just got assaulted and mistreated at this job, and now I'm in a landfill working for free for a multi-million-dollar company.
One of the most valuable things in the system is whatever I can do to get out early. If a work stoppage to protect myself from being abused and to speak up for myself could subject me to sanctions, I don't have to say it, but you're going to follow whatever order you're given.
Chris England is a state representative in Alabama. He's leading the fight to reform the state's prison system.
It is a completely broken system. The folks in charge, the parole board, they don't use guidelines. There is no methodology applied to it.
Alabama has some of the lowest parole grant rates in the country.
And more than 90% of the time, hearing this answer.
Denied, 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 be denied. Parole will be denied.
If the parole board followed its own guidelines, it would grant parole in about 80% of cases. But instead, that number dropped to just 8% last year.
See, because what this add up to is they try and keep you trapped in this circle of staying in the prison so that you can stay in their workforce for this free labor for these corporations. And then when you go to parole know you capable of going out. You've been working at the restaurant, going outside the prison, working in the community for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, even 18 months like that young lady. And then they turn around and they deny your parole. When you've done everything right for 18 months, even run the kitchen in the local Wendy's, and they deny you. But why would they deny you? And you've been programming, but here they go, they deny you because right now you are a threat. You are a threat right now. So they deny you because you're a threat to them losing this free labor, and they want you to work with this free labor. So you're a threat with shortening the cheap labor workforce. Let's keep it moving.
Incarcerated people in the work release program don't fare much better.
I know that there are people at the Department of Corrections, they assess them, and then they say, you are not a threat. So much so that you can leave here and go work. Some people actually go home for 72 hours on a weekend and are told, we trust you to the point where you do whatever you gotta do. We'll see you Monday morning, 8 o'clock. That same person goes before the parole board and they say, you know, what you did 20 years ago is so bad we can't let you out. You are a threat to public safety, but make sure you're at work tomorrow morning.
In the public.
A federal lawsuit claims that 235 people in the work release program were denied parole in fiscal year 2022.
So if the system is operating as designed, what is the point of the system?
It appears labor is.
One thing our lawsuit talks a lot about is that very clear lineage from slavery in the state to convict leasing and to what we've got now. And the punishment by the Department of Corrections is what our clients are challenging, because that's what amounts to involuntary servitude and slavery by the state.
After the Civil War, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery with a key caveat. Forced labor was still allowed for people convicted of a crime. And the states adopted a copycat of this federal amendment. But here's the thing. In 2022, Alabamians made a historic vote to remove this exception.
The state has a new constitution. Voters overwhelmingly agreed to make our state constitution free of racist laws and language.
However, right after the voters of the state changed the state constitution, the governor and the Department of Corrections really doubled down on the punishment for refusing to work.
So the people closed the loophole and then the governor went around to open it up again, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
Governor Kay Ivey's executive order made encouraging or causing a work stoppage a high-level violation, on the same level as possession of a weapon, drug possession, and bribery. The order...
All right, let me break that down to you, right? This is my specialty. Okay, when I first got to Lewisburg, you know, we had convicts in it. This is 1993 when they were just bringing in, you know, the brothers and sisters from the crack era. We got to Lewisburg and they had what they called the prison factory, the Unicorn factory. They had dudes that was allowed to work overtime there. Overtime there meaning that you go to work at 7 in the morning, you're supposed to get off at 3 in the afternoon, but you could stay until 10 that night. And then if you want, you know, you're supposed to get off at 10, at 11, then you can sit there and work from 11 to 7 again in the morning and work all 3 shifts. And they paid you like maybe 90 cents an hour. And when you working 20 hours a day at 90 cents an hour, that's like getting almost, that's like $20. You know what I mean? It cost $20 a day, you know, and that's like 60, yeah, about $20 a day, whatever it is, you know. But you do the math, you know, I like the rat bastards to have some. But, you know, let me get back to the point at hand. They have something called encouraging others to riot, encouraging others to work strike. That's like when I first came in, the homies was like, yo, we don't work in the factory, dog, because the unicorn is what keep the prison system going. And by us working in the factory, that's giving them the money so that they could build more bars, more chains, more handcuffs, you know, more handcuff keys, you know, more cells, more prisons. And they actually took the profit from the unicorn to use to incarcerate us even tighter and for them to make a profit on the outside, and we make nothing. So that's the worst thing you could do, is encourage others to riot. In the feds, that's only a 200 series shot, because I had one of them too, right? They call it encouraging others to riot, or I mean, that's what they gave me. And they also gave me encouraging a work strike. A work strike is when you tell another inmate, yo, I'm not going to no unicorn, man, because unicorns working to keep the inmates in jail. That's working to keep the slavery going on. So you working to keep yourself in jail. If somebody go back and tell the administration that you just said what I said, that the unicorn is, I'm not going to unicorn, you know, because of this, and then now they come lock me up because I'm encouraging that person not to go to work. So I'm encouraging a work strike by telling other inmates that the unicorn is the prison slavery factory, and that's what they use to run the prison. And I learned this my first day in the prison, because those are the type of men, convicts that I was around, that gave me that. So once you get this causing others, encouraging others to work strike, encouraging others to riot, in the feds, these are 200 series shots, right? Now, like I said, stabbing, a knife, anything violent, that's a 100 series shot, right? But that 200 series shot warrants you go to the DHO, which is the disciplinary hearing officer, which is the courthouse within the prison, for them to sanction you. And you could get up to 30 days in the hole, just like you could get up to 30 days in the hole for a 100 series. Then they got a 300 series that's not seen by the DHO, that's seen by the UDC, which is the unit disciplinary committee. You know what I mean? Which is your case manager, counselor, and worker. See, I'm breaking all this prison stuff down to you so you understand. That's why I say make sure you pay attention here at Unique Mecca Audio, because there's no game playing. But anyway, once you have that on your jacket, means on your file, wherever they send you in the prison system, you're going to have a red mark next to your name. So as soon as you go there and they whiz through the names on the computer, they look for anybody with a red mark. So you might have it for riot, stabbing, assault on police, whatever, but you got a red mark. And I had a riot and an encouraging or work strike and encouraging others to riot. They charged me with everything under the book to defend our rights as convicts within the prison. And I wasn't the only one that thought like that, but that's what it is. Let me get back to this so we could end this, 'cause I'm giving y'all a little too much, man.
They're also cracked down on correctional incentive time, better known as
good time.
In some prison systems, good behavior is rewarded with what's known as good time. People can earn sentence reductions and get released from prison early.
And the state legislature even changed its good time law to increase that form of punishment for folks who refuse to work.
We're simply changing the amount of correctional incentive time or good time days that are offered.
Are we increasing or are we lowering it?
We are lowering them.
All of this was done on the heels of this constitutional change, and frankly, it's a brazen ignoring of the will of the voters of the state, and that's what our lawsuit is about. And so many people want to work, but they want to be paid fairly. They want to be paid a free world wage for the labor they're doing. They want to be working in safe conditions. They want to be treated fairly, and they don't want to be forced to work if they don't want to, or they can't because they're sick, or they have a doctor's appointment, or they're feeling unsafe in their work and they want to change jobs.
One of the unique things about this state, and really the country, is that things just never end, they evolve. If your prison system is full, it's primarily full of black folks, black men, and you have a racial disparity in who gets released and who doesn't. Can you imagine the optics of what that labor force looks like?
Black people account for just over a quarter of Alabama's total population, but more than 50% of the prison population. An AL.com investigation found that black men were 25% less likely to get parole than white men.
If you could take a picture of a group of men who are working convict labor decades ago and juxtapose that next to a current labor force, it would probably look the same. That's crazy.
So, what is the point of prison? Is it the creation of a cheap, controllable, and confined labor source? Or is it rehabilitation? And what does a real commitment to rehabilitation for incarcerated people actually look like?
I wish they'd strip that name off of that Alabama Department of Correction. I wish they'll take correction out of that and just say Alabama Department, because ain't no correction. Ain't no correction, ain't no structure, ain't no discipline. You discipline me to do what you want me to do, not the law. Not to come back in society and be able to live off of what you taught me. That's not what's going on. If I lived off what DOC taught me, I'd still be a criminal. Because they want that paycheck. They want me to come back in tomorrow. They want me to, because they money keep flowing. It's no correction. We need to start correcting. We need to start loving. We need to start teaching.
Now, that joint there was hard, right? I like that joint there. That was hard because that really touched home for me because, you know, I know brothers that worked in the prison. Could we ride? I know brothers that worked in the prison and they got up 3 o'clock in the morning to go to work and didn't get off till the next night at 7 o'clock at night. And then watched a little TV after they took a shower and then went to bed early because they had to get up by 3 in the morning. And this is how they lived their bid for years. And can you believe they made $17 for the month for working all those hours? And they loved it. And then they get released back into society. And then they say, I can't work at no McDonald's for no minimum wage. So I had to rob that bank. I had to rob that house. I had to sell drugs because I'm not going to go work at McDonald's, you know, for no minimum wage. But he's working in the prison for $17 to work like 14 hours a day. But don't want to work minimum wage. And then they come back to prison and they talk to me like they slick. And I'm looking at them like, man, give me a chance to go out there and work at McDonald's. I'll be the best McDonald's hamburger flipping mother effer you ever seen. You know, that's where my mentality is at when I'm seeing them coming back. And it's crazy because they really believe that they're right for coming back and not taking a job at McDonald's for minimum wage. And then they come in and they get 17 cents an hour. If they're lucky, they get up to the 90 cents an hour. They call that a grade 1. A grade 1 is, you know, you get about 90 cents an hour. Been on here long enough. Hit the QR code on my man Lou Sims' book. Subscribe at Mecca Audio TV and Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories. Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories to hear more of these prison stories. All right? Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it funky. All right?
Cheers. Cheers. Toast the crime. Toast the crime. The crime. The crime. The crime.
Out the can of 26, yeah. Heat back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Real. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops. Mecca Audio.